70 interesting facts about viruses. 1. Viruses are not alive. They lack the cellular structure necessary for life and can only reproduce by infecting a host cell. 2. Viruses are obligate parasites. They can only replicate inside the cells of living organisms. 3. There are millions of different viruses. Viruses are the most abundant biological entities on Earth. 4. Viruses infect all forms of life, from animals and plants to bacteria and archaea. 5. The word virus comes from Latin, meaning poison or slimy liquid. 6. Viruses are much smaller than bacteria, typically measuring 20,400 nanometers in size. 7. The tobacco Mosaic virus was the first virus discovered, identified in the late 19th century. 8. Some viruses have a lipid envelope. This outer layer helps protect the virus and can assist in entering host cells. 9. Viruses have genetic material, either DNA or RNA, but not both. 10. Bacteriophages are viruses that infect bacteria. They play a crucial role in regulating bacterial populations. 11. The human virome. Humans have an entire community of viruses living within their bodies, known as the virome. 12. Viruses evolve rapidly, much faster than bacteria or multicellular organisms. 13. Viruses can exchange genetic material. This process, called recombination, helps them adapt and evolve. 14. Some viruses can cause chronic infections, persisting in a host for years or even a lifetime. 15. Viruses can be used in gene therapy. Scientists engineer viruses to deliver genetic material to cells for therapeutic purposes. 16. Adenoviruses are common causes of respiratory illnesses, such as the common cold. 17. The influenza virus mutates every year, necessitating the development of new flu vaccines. 18. Retroviruses, like HIV, reverse the typical flow of genetic information, RNA to DNA. 19. The structure of a virus includes a protein coat, called a capsid, that encases its genetic material. 20. The largest known virus is the Pandora virus, which is almost as large as some bacteria. 21. Prions are infectious proteins, but they are not considered viruses since they lack genetic material. 22. The smallpox virus was eradicated in 1980, thanks to a global vaccination campaign. 23. Rabies is a deadly virus transmitted through animal bites. 24. Viruses can remain dormant in the body, reactivating later, as seen with herpes viruses. 25. Zoonotic viruses can jump from animals to humans, such as the Ebola and SARS-CoV-2 viruses. 26. Viruses have two main life cycles: the lytic cycle, immediate replication and cell destruction, and the lysogenic cycle, dormancy and integration into host DNA. 27. Some viruses cause cancer. For example, the human papillomavirus, HPV, is linked to cervical cancer. 28. Viroids are smaller infectious agents than viruses, consisting only of a short strand of RNA without a protein coat. 29. Not all viruses are harmful. Some viruses can have beneficial effects, such as controlling bacterial populations. 30. Viruses can be inactivated by heat and UV light. 31. Antibiotics do not work against viruses, as they are designed to target bacterial structures and processes. 32. Vaccines are the most effective way to prevent viral infections. 33. HIV targets the immune system. It infects and destroys CD4 cells, weakening the body's defense mechanisms. 34. The Ebola virus has a high fatality rate, but outbreaks are relatively rare and localized. 35. Viruses can evolve resistance to antiviral drugs, much like bacteria can develop resistance to antibiotics. 36. The genome of a virus can be either single or double-stranded. 37. Viruses can spread through multiple routes, including respiratory droplets, blood, and bodily fluids. 38. Some viruses can cross the placenta, infecting a fetus during pregnancy. 39. Zika virus can cause birth defects. It has been linked to microcephaly in newborns. 40. Certain viruses have been engineered as biological weapons, due to their potential to cause widespread harm. 41. Viruses are studied in a field known as virology. 42. Viruses can be crystallized, a characteristic unique to non-living entities. 43. The COVID-19 pandemic was caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, part of the coronavirus family. 44. Some viruses can become airborne, making them more contagious. 45. Viruses can cause immune evasion. They can hide from or suppress the host's immune response. 46. The varicella-zoster virus causes both chickenpox and shingles. 47. Viruses are estimated to outnumber bacteria by 10 to 1 in most environments. 48. The hepatitis virus can cause liver damage, leading to conditions like cirrhosis and liver cancer. 49. Some viruses have RNA instead of DNA. Examples include the influenza virus and HIV. 50. Certain viruses have complex shapes, with structures resembling gears or spirals. 51. Rabies is almost 100% fatal without treatment. It's critical to receive post-exposure prophylaxis. 52. Hantaviruses can be transmitted through rodent droppings. 53. Poliovirus was nearly eradicated worldwide, but isolated outbreaks still occur. 54. Norovirus is a common cause of gastrointestinal illnesses. 55. The Marburg virus is related to Ebola and causes severe hemorrhagic fever. 56. Coronavirus spikes help the virus bind to host cells, facilitating entry and infection. 57. Viruses lack cellular organelles, such as nuclei, mitochondria, or ribosomes. 58. Some viruses can trigger autoimmune responses. 59. Gene therapy uses modified viruses to correct genetic defects. 60. The West Nile virus is transmitted by mosquitoes. 61. The human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, can remain dormant for years. 62. Viruses can be used to study genetics and cell functions. 63. Lentiviruses are a type of retrovirus. 64. Antiviral drugs inhibit viral replication by targeting specific viral enzymes or structures. 65. Some viruses form inclusion bodies in infected cells. 66. Different viruses prefer different host tissues, a phenomenon known as tissue tropism. 67. CRISPR technology was discovered through the study of bacteriophages. 68. The first vaccine ever developed was for smallpox, created by Edward Jenner. 69. Herpes viruses can establish latent infections in neurons. 70. Many viruses mutate quickly, making them difficult to control or eradicate. Differences between viruses and bacteria. 1. Size. Bacteria are much larger, usually 1.5 micrometers, compared to viruses, 20,400 nanometers. 2. Structure. Bacteria are unicellular organisms with a complex structure, including a cell wall, cytoplasm, and sometimes flagella. 2. Viruses consist only of genetic material, DNA or RNA, enclosed in a protein coat, sometimes with a lipid envelope. 3. Reproduction. Bacteria can reproduce independently by binary fission. 3. Viruses require a host cell to replicate, as they cannot carry out metabolic processes on their own. 4. Living status. Bacteria are considered living organisms, while viruses are not because they cannot sustain life without a host. 5. Cellular organization. Bacteria have a cellular structure with components like ribosomes and membranes. 5. Viruses lack these and rely on host cells for all their biological activities. 6. Antibiotic sensitivity. Antibiotics can kill or inhibit the growth of bacteria but have no effect on viruses. 6. Antiviral medications are used to treat viral infections. 7. Disease mechanism. Bacteria cause diseases by multiplying in the body and producing toxins. 7. Viruses cause diseases by taking over host cells and directing them to produce new viruses. 8. Examples. Common bacterial infections include strep throat, tuberculosis, and urinary tract infections. 8. Common viral infections include the flu, HIV, AIDS, and COVID-19. Both viruses and bacteria play essential roles in ecosystems and human health, but their distinct characteristics determine how they interact with their environment and hosts.